Hi guys, my name is Lucia. I live in Rome, Italy, and I want to share my experiences of touring Tuscany through my list of the top places to visit in Tuscany. Tuscany is absolutely gorgeous. When they were shooting the scene for Elysium in the movie Gladiator, our producers rushed right to Val d'Orcia for her amazing panoramic vista. Many of Tuscany's villages and towns are walled fortresses perched on top of hills and rocky outlooks, letting residents and tourists alike gaze out over amazing valleys filled with beauty, life, adventure, and peace. More than that, as the region in Italy with the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Tuscany's villages, towns, and cities are hosts to deep culture and history, touching on arts from some of the top renowned Renaissance artists, great Italian food, some of the best Italian wines, amazing architecture, and music. With that, let me jump straight to my number one favorite city in Tuscany. Topping my list is the great Renaissance city of Florence. Florence is a cosmopolitan city drawing people from all walks of life, creating some of the most amazing nightlife scenes and festivals in the world. At the same time, however, Florence has none of the urban rush and bustle that you will see in modern city, instead retaining its calm, rustic outlook. Florence is a city filled with dozens of world-class museums. Among them is the Uffizi Gallery, hosting amazing works from Leonardo da Vinci, Caravaggio, Sandro Botticelli, and the Accademia Gallery, being home to the lifelike man-sized statue of David by Michelangelo. The best time to visit Uffizi is during winter, especially January. There are literally no lines, no need to pre-book way in advance. You just need to walk in and pay. However, Florence is much more than her art. In the Oltrarno district, which means the other side of the Arno River, you will find an outstanding range of boutiques and artisan workshops in Florence, willing to teach you everything from crafting gold jewelry to shaping leather into jackets, shoes, and bags. The Florentine culture has been shaped by our history and experiences. The Black Death in the 14th century resulted in the innovation of medieval social distancing in the form of wine windows. Those cute little holes in doors and windows were where they served wine. Go on a hunt looking for these cute wine windows in Florence while sampling the wines. One in particular serves gelato just by the Arno River. I have a full article up on my website on the Florentine wine windows, including the map to find them all. The link is in the description below. A great movie to watch will be The Medici, which will give you a great insight to the life and times during the Renaissance period in Florence. Next up is San Gimignano. 56 kilometers south of Florence is San Gimignano, a town so beautiful and famous for her towers she gained the name San Gimignano delle Belle Torri, literally the town of fine towers. During the medieval and Renaissance periods, travelers would use San Gimignano as a staging point in their travels, often stopping and resting here. Over time, the region's natural beauty would attract permanent settlers, among them patrician families who would in turn build the 72 towers for which the town is famous. As with many other towns in Tuscany, San Gimignano is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is something contributed not only by the towers, but also its location on a ridge. My attraction towards San Gimignano was in the wealth in Romanesque and Gothic architecture to be found here. This is a beautiful old town whose atmosphere draws you inwards and rewards you with rest and relaxation. Siena comes third on this very competitive list, and what Siena has to offer is more of Tuscany's staples: cuisine, art, museums, and medieval cityscape. Siena's natural beauty lies in its rustic medieval town, architecture, and structure. Her roofs are all red bricked, the walls of buildings are uniform creamy brown, and the streets all close and wonderful. Siena's cultural scene was what drew me here. Every year on the 12th July and 16th August is the Palio di Siena, a mud horse race where there are almost no rules of decency. Tourists and residents flock to the Piazza del Campo, where just before the race, they get to see the town riders negotiate deals on either throwing the race, betraying each other, or betraying themselves all together. Siena is deep in culture, having long formed her own identity well before Florence took control over her. Siena has her own football culture, the hosting basketball, cycling, resident Renaissance and medieval artists, and so much more. Next, let's head over to Volterra, another beautiful medieval town in Tuscany, made even more beautiful by her longer history. Volterra has long had human occupation, starting in the 8th century by Etruscans, right down to the present day, where her walled towns atop a mountain still look out over a beautiful countryside. Volterra was long famous as an art production center, producing alabaster mined from the hills around. Today, Volterra's wealth lies both in the quiet medieval calm and atmosphere of the town, and in the wealth in archaeological remains she offers. Cortona is a comune about 120 kilometers from Florence and best known for her Etruscan remains. Cortona can only be described as a dreamy town. Perched up on a hill, Cortona is an ancient walled town with a pretty medieval center, surrounded by lush green and pine trees, and is a heaven for nature trails where trekkers and joggers flock to walk the same spiritual tracks St. Francis of Assisi walked on Mount Sant'Egidio. Today, Cortona is famed for her Basilica di Santa Margherita, the museum and her treasures in Etruscan and Roman artifacts, and for her proximity to Lake Trasimeno, where all-water activities from windsurfing, kitesurfing, and paddleboarding can be had. Don't forget to wear comfy shoes when visiting Cortona, because there will be lots of walking and it's pretty slopey. A gorgeous comune 80 kilometers from Florence is Arezzo. Arezzo is famed for her cultural wealth and beauty. Arezzo is well known for her antique markets and in her wealth in grand churches and chapels. Let me leave you with scenes from the Piazza Grande, an appropriately named square in Arezzo, the stunning number of churches here, and the museums and palaces with Roman and Etruscan remains. Montepulciano comes 7th on the list because of her ability to be more than just about her wine, vino nobile, though that is impressive enough by itself. The blend of a beautiful countryside offering stunning visual panoramas and sunsets from a hilltop was one thing. The plus of simply slipping from the main square and into the town's quiet little streets made my day in Montepulciano. Just as famous is Montalcino and the wine Brunello and Rosso di Montalcino. Montalcino's wine scene is why most people visit the town. Wine tasting and lessons on making, blending, and preservation of wine are at the core of what Montalcino has to offer. Other than the wine scene, Montalcino is a legit medieval town, complete with fortress walls gazing out over Val d'Ocia, and gorgeous streets lead off from the main piazza where you can taste local delicacies and experience while enjoying the town's beautiful atmosphere. Pienza is barely an hour and a half from Florence, and the best way to spend a day here must include a walk across her romantic Renaissance streets and walls. In 1458, Pope Pius II dreamt of building the perfect Renaissance city, and the result of this visionary idea was multiple palaces in the central Piazza Pio II. If you can try taking a 360 view of the central square, where the palaces flank the piazza. The Renaissance age believed in balance, and math was the language of God. So the square has buildings forming mathematical rules as part of the Pope's vision of what Renaissance Reformation meant. Moving on from the utopian wonder that is Pienza, let's head over to Pitigliano, the majestic heavyweight wonder carved into a hill. Pitigliano is simply gorgeous. Its beauty and medieval look is enough for many to consider Pitigliano a little Jerusalem. Just grabbing shots of the town from the outside is enough to make your day and trip. Inside the town lies many wonders. There is a Jewish museum, a synagogue where you get to know more about the Jewish culture. Pisa is a convenient hour and a half's drive from Florence, and absolutely perfect if you're looking for more of Tuscany's stunning architecture. Pisa is home to the world-renowned Leaning Tower of Pisa and many other architectural wonders. The city is spectacularly rich in history, from ancient churches and palaces to beautiful Italian squares. After a busy day of sightseeing, wander the old streets, try different gelato flavors, or stroll along the Arno River with the majestic mountains in the background. A tip: if you plan to climb the iconic Leaning Tower of Pisa, it would be best to book in advance. One thing is for sure, you could easily spend a lifetime exploring the beautiful Tuscan villages. I will leave this Tuscan adventure with a bonus: the thermal baths of Tuscany. Tuscany's history with tectonic activity and volcanicity has been both positive and negative. On the one hand, you have Pompeii and Herculaneum destroyed. On the other hand, however, you have the fantastic thermal baths and hot springs like Saturnia, Bagno Vignoni, and Bagno San Filippo. Even if we set aside a spa day at any of these sites, just taking away pictures and selfies of the amazing rock and calcium formations as you walk around the nature parks and trails is well worth the trip to Tuscany. So what is there to stop you from a dip? Especially when the access to these hot springs is free. On the same note, do know that they are also pretty crowded. So the best times to visit will be very early in the morning to avoid the huge crowds. Of course, the best periods to visit these thermal baths is during autumn and winter, as it's warmer in the water. And I personally noticed that it's far much less crowded during these two periods than during summer. So there you have it, guys, my top 10 plus 1 and bonuses of the top places to visit in Tuscany. Tuscany is a region worth experiencing. Let me know your favorite places to visit in Tuscany, plus share your experiences of more places to visit in Tuscany in the comments below. In case you're interested for the individual walking tours of each of the mentioned towns, I'll leave the links down below. Enjoy your travels and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao!